Good morning, everybody. Jay here with another War of the Visions video, and today we are going to do the physical DPS Esper tier list for War of the Visions. Last week we did the tanking tier list, and it was a big success. A lot of people enjoyed watching that video, and a lot of people enjoyed asking me, well, Jay, why wasn't Fenrir on this list? He has magic resist. Hey, don't worry, he's on this list today. If you were missing the blue puppy, you get some blue puppy action today, and I'll explain all of that in this video. Now, the tiers, we're going from S at the top to bad at the bottom. I will explain what each of the tiers is, but before I get into that, I wanted to give a big shout out to Daddy Daughter Vlogs and Lonchong for being the newest members to the YouTube channel. If you don't know what membership on a YouTube channel is, you click the join button underneath the video, and it's like what a Twitch sub is on Twitch, but for YouTube. And one of the big differences is I get to set the tiers and prices myself. You can see I made that first tier just $2 a month, so cheaper than joining on Twitch actually. And you get loyalty badges, you get emojis. Then there's the second tier, $5 tier. I will add you on Discord as a friend in that tier, and you can ask me questions there or just chat about something. There's plenty of people who take advantage of that tier, I promise. And then the Saint of Eileen tier, I kind of wanted to bring back account reviews to videos. This is something that I get asked about. I used to do this. So if you're a member at the Saint level and you want to send me some pictures on Discord, I'd be happy to do an account review for you at the end of one of my YouTube videos. So there we go. That's YouTube membership. We've got a tier list to make. And now, okay, S, A, and B tier. I think it's pretty clear what all of those mean, but keep in mind for this video, I'm giving bonus points to Espers that are good for characters outside of their chosen element. Things like Human Killer or Slash Attack Up, Missile Attack Up, things that can be used on whatever unit you want to use them on. I give bonus points for that. If you are locked in as an Esper to more of one element, I'm going to bump you down a tier with the caveat of if you're playing this Esper on element, just consider it a tier higher in my opinion. The niche tier, this is for a few Espers that I had a hard time leaving off the list because I regularly use them as DPS Espers, but for like literally one thing, and if they're not used for that thing, they'd be in the bad tier, or just really wouldn't be DPS Espers at all. And then there's the bad tier, which means they're bad. I think everybody understands that one. All right. Now, Odin is first, and Odin's first because I wanted to quickly establish what an S tier Esper looks like. Check out Odin. Pretty good stat line. Honestly, his attack number a little bit low for a UR, but good luck, and then 20 agility. This is the fastest stat you see on an Esper in the game. You love to see that. And then his whole tree is good for whatever element you want to play him on. He has a ton of slash attack for any element that wants to use it. He also has a bunch of Human Killer, which is good for every attack type. Then he has attack nodes. He has a ton of accuracy nodes. And if you need to splash in a little defense, you can very easily splash into slash resistance or missile resistance. You know, if you're not running a slashing type unit, you could set up your board like this and then move in with some slash or missile resist as well. The best physical DPS Esper in the game is Odin, in my opinion. So he's top of S tier, and that is why. Okay, next up, we have Igaion. And Igaion, I wrote down as a B- Esper. I'm going to try to organize these actually in descending order this time because there's so many of them. But here's the deal with Igaion, right? First of all, his attack and magic stat are balanced, 88 each, which is fine. It's good to have Espers in the game that could be used for an attack or magic unit, so I'm not docking him a ton of points there. 15 agility, pretty average, it's like tanking Esper level, decent HP, but really, where he loses points in my opinion is when you start taking off his elemental nodes. What does he bring? Well, let's take off the water killer, let's take off the lightning attack, and we're not going to use magic up because this is a physical tier list, and here's what you're left with. Slash attack, accuracy into critical rate, and some more critical rate. So he does bring a lot of crit for you if you need that, a little bit of accuracy and some slash attack, but I mean really he's clearly meant to be played as a lightning specific Esper, and then even then with the attack stat being 88, I think he fits in as a B tier Esper generically speaking, and then if he's on element maybe an A-. So there's Igaion in my opinion. Next up, we've got Littlefoot next. Now, Littlefoot, I'm going to put at the top of the B tier, maybe minus a. I have two things written down on my piece of paper for this guy. Let me walk you through it. First of all, yeah, well, hold up, watch this, hold on. Boop, my bottom A. He's bottom A, and I remember why I had him there. 17 agility is pretty dang good. Attack stat 116 is good, 1266 is nice, 83 dex is nice, so his stat line is pretty good. Now, if you come in here, he's a missile attack UR Esper, of which we don't have a ton of, so I do like him for that reason. However, once again, if we strip away the elemental specific buffs, this is what he looks like, and you're going to see this pattern kind of over and over again. You do have a little bit of attack node right here, you have your missile attack, and you have some accuracy into critical hit rate. So not bad, but clearly he's meant to also be running these fire attack nodes for his like pure form. And on a unit like Setia or on a unit like Luartha, he's about as good as it gets. He's probably as good as Odin on them in a lot of situations, especially because you're not losing a ton of speed with him. So I do think I'm comfortable putting him at like maybe towards the bottom of A tier, even as just an off element, because we honestly don't have a ton of missile attack up UR Espers in the game, and his stat line is pretty good. So there's Brachiosaur. I said I was going to try to keep it short. I've been trying to remember that as I go through this video. Okay, so we'll call him A minus tier. Okay, next up, we've got Odin's brother, aka Dark Odin, aka copy and paste picture with weird darkness filter on it. Hey, I understand. Sometimes you got to do what's expedient, right? So there's Dark Odin. I'm also going to put him into S, but below his brother, regular Odin. And here's why. First of all, you're losing a little bit of agility. You go down to 18, but that's still pretty good. Attack at 100 is honestly slightly low for a UR Esper, but this skill tree is another just absolute banger. You have 2 slash attack trees on it again, which is nice. And to get to this one, you actually have increased AP, which I do think is generically pretty good. You also have this human killer node right here, and just this part of the board is so dang good for him. And then he also has this nice evasion bit up here. Now, if you're not running evasion, you can kick that off and mix in some magic resist or mix in some missile resist if you're not already maxed out on points. So I do think he is, generically speaking, very, very strong, just not as strong as regular Odin, and probably weaker on specific elemental characters than their best in slot on element Esper would be. But remember, bonus points on this list for me if you're usable across the board, because it takes a lot of magicite to level these guys up. I do think leveling up Dark Odin, good move. PvP and PvE, good move. Okay, Demon Wall is next. Niche. Demon Wall probably shouldn't be on this list, if I'm being real. But if I'm being real with you, I do use Demon Wall on my DPS units sometimes. He has a good amount of attack at 107, a little slow. 13 agility is more than a little slow. It's honestly pretty dang slow for a physical DPS Esper. But in his true form, right, you can run him on a dark unit that is hunting light units specifically. You get a lot of dark attack up right here. You get a lot of light killer. You get crit evasion that goes into critical hit rate up at the top, and then light resistance and a light killer. So his niche use is on a dark unit fighting light element units, of which there are so many in the game. You might consider Demon Wall in that one niche use. Otherwise, he's a tank Esper. He probably doesn't belong on this list. Boom. There you go. Okay. Next up, we've got Bambi Eleficarus. And Eleficarus, I'm going to slot in above Brachiosaur towards the top of A tier. Here's why. First of all, 19 agility should pop off the screen. That is really high. Second highest stat you can get on an Esper in the game. Attack at 103 is decent, 1261 HP, so fairly standard there, but that 19 agility is really nice. He also has a multi-hit attack here with his cast skill. I'm not going to mention these for every single person, but that cast skill has been really, really clutch as an earth piercing skill in some earth pierce chaining PvE teams. I know that's weird, but I am going to give him a bonus point because I've done it. I've used it for that before. Now, looking at his board, here's what it looks like if you have all of his offensive stuff on. However, let's remove the elemental specific things, and he's kind of looking fairly generic there. You have accuracy into crit damage, you have pierce attack, and you have attack. So why do I have him so high? That 19 agility is really, really nice. And if you're running him on somebody like Oberon, or maybe another, Noctis can use piercing damage. Eileen, right? I mean, Eileen, you know what I'm saying? In his Earth form, I think he's easily an S tier Esper. But in his regular form, I'll back off of that. Just say, like, for your piercing units, I think he's a solid A. So there you go. A tier for the deer. Next up, we've got Fenrir. Now I'm going to slot Fenrir in just above Eleficarus, and with a special shout out here to his PvE usefulness again. So here's Fenrir. Here he is. Now, stat-wise, 1269 HP, pretty good. 127 attack, pretty dang nice. 15 agility, average, but it's this skill tree that's very good for him. He is generically very, very strong. Here he is with all of his elemental, here he is with all of his attack nodes on. If we remove the elemental specific ones, he still looks like this. So massive bonus points to Fenrir for being a generically very, very strong slash attack Esper. You go attack nodes into slash attack here, you go slash attack on the bottom with accuracy into critical hit rate on top. And if you want to splash some generically good nodes in, you can splash in some magic resist. Now note why he is not a tanking Esper. Let's turn on just his tank stats. Maybe put fire resist on, I guess. Let's see. That's it. There they are. So, wait, I'm sorry. I took magic resist off. There they are. Not exactly a tank Esper, but let's put those DPS stats back on. Ah, now you see it. There you go. Definitely an attack type Esper in my opinion, but he was one of our first Espers in the game with magic resist, especially at a UR level. So a lot of people just have him slotted in as a tank Esper in their minds. And you could definitely do that if you happen to be fighting a lot of mono magic teams. But I wanted to do my little side note on Fenrir here. He's a dang good Esper. Dang good. With a lot of bonus points for his generic usability. Okay. Anyway, next up, we've got Ifrit next, and I'm going to slot Ifrit in up here into like middle of B tier. Now, why that? Well, Ifrit has a lot of attack at 127, a lot of HP, 1308, that's pretty good. Average agility, good luck, which again, don't sleep on how good luck is in the game right now. And then here's his board with again, all of his attack nodes on. If we remove the fire attack and ice killer, the elemental specific ones, again, you're looking very generic. He does have a little bit of extra crit rate that some other Espers don't have up here in the top right, but with a generic lineup like this and agility stat of only 15, I think that warrants him a slot in the B tier with an easy upgrade to A tier if you're able to take advantage of the fire attack nodes and ice killer nodes. In that case, like on a King Elda or somebody like that, or heck, if you're fighting ice teams, just forget pierce attack at all and have any of your fire units just be popping off with this build right here. That's an A tier build, but generically speaking, for like a pierce unit, you'd have to get rid of all that, and that's what you're looking at with maybe some splashing into missile resist if you had some extra points. So that's Ifrit, that's middle of B. Let's move on. Next up is Leviathan. I'm going to slot Leviathan in here somewhere around Igaion. I'm going to put him above Igaion, but still bottom-ish of B tier. And here's the deal with him. Okay, agility at 14. I'm going to call 15 average for a DPS Esper. I'm going to call 14 then below average. Good luck stat though, nice attack, and good HP. For his skill tree, here he is with all of his nodes on. If we take off the fire killer node and the water attack node, that's all you're left with. Not very good for generic use, right? He's a pierce attack up Esper, but you have to use points on confusion resistance just to get to the pierce attack. Ugh. I don't like that at all. And then his accuracy into critical damage is pretty cool. But really, if you're not a water unit, if you can't take advantage of at least this water attack up, I don't think he's that good. And so that's why I put him towards the bottom of B tier down here with Igaion. And again, if you could take advantage of that water attack, he probably bumps up into like a bottom of A tier kind of guy. Okay, next up, we have Manipul, the robot, and I got Manipul slotted in at a solid B+. I'll put him up there right above Fenrir, and here's the breakdown. 15 agility, pretty average. High attack, 142 is a big number, 1295 is good there. Decent dex and luck. A 3-hit missile attack move here, but it's colorless. I actually don't like that that's colorless. I would rather it be on element for chaining, but it is a 3-hit move. Here's his board. Now, you have ice attack and wind killer. Let's take those off and look at the generic nodes here. It's a pierce attack Esper with attack up and then critical rate into critical damage up. So again, kind of generic what you're looking at here. The thing I like about him is you can splash into slash resistance, which there's a lot of slash in the game. There kind of always has been a lot of slash in the game. So this is a pretty decent build out for any pierce attack unit. But again, an easy bump up to A tier. If you're like a Victoria or an Aranea, where you can take advantage of this ice attack. If you can build them out looking like this, and then if you're hunting wind teams, figure out a way to get wind killer in there, boom, easy A+ tier. But generically speaking, if you're setting him up for any pierce unit, I gotta go B+ for that reason. Boom. And I hope this is making sense, right? I'm trying to show where I think they are generically and where I think they would be on element. So that's Manipul, and next up is going to be Omega. Now, I'm going to put Omega bottom of A tier. I got him rated as an A-. I think a lot of people sleep on how good Omega actually is. One of those reasons is 14 agility is bad. It's below average. I don't like, if this guy had agility, if he had 19 or 20 agility, you're talking S tier easy. Let me show you why. So good attack at 123, good HP at 1300. In his skill tree, look at all those offensive nodes that are highlighted, right? It's so many. And then if we take off the elemental specific ones, the light killer and dark attack, you're still left with this. You have a nice slash attack on the bottom, a nice amount of attack right here, which is generically really good for all your attack espers, and then your accuracy into critical hit rate that we see on a lot of other units. You also have an easy splash and it's a magic resist if you wanted to do that. But man, oh man, on element, this guy is an easy S tier. If you're dark, especially if you're dark hunting light, you have to you can't run all this. That's too many points. You have to actually choose to give up. Like maybe you're just not going to run slash. You're going to run like a dark piercing unit like Kane and you don't have Demon Wall for some reason. You could just do all of this and just go massacre some light element units. So I do think Omega's really strong. Just held back a little bit by that low agility number. Dang it, too bad, but even still, I'll put him bottom A, and if he's on element to dark, he easily bumps up to a bottom S tier, in my opinion. Okay, next up, we've got the Scorpion. Now, Scorpion I have as like a mid to high B tier Esper, and again, I think a lot of people will think that's a little bit low. Let me walk you through it. 15 agility, average, low luck, decent dex, nice HP, really good attack at 131. So his board is not, his stat lines aren't that bad. It's the skill tree where he falls a little bit short to me. So if you're on element, right? Like I put him in to B. He's easily A tier if you're on element. And he might boost up to S tier on element, especially on somebody like a Cloud. But let's take off the lightning attack. Let's take off the water killer. There is what you're left with, generically speaking. You just have critical hit rate into critical damage, and not that much. You have a little bit of accuracy and some slash attack. It's not a lot. He really doesn't offer very much to someone who can't take advantage of this lightning element attack. If you can take advantage of this, he way tiers up, but I'm putting a lot of value on this into bang for your buck, right? How much are you getting for that XL Magicite investment? And unless you're running lightning, not a lot. Now, he does have missile resist and slash resist. I think those are both really good. And then lightning resist could be good, but I think it makes sense. I think based on my grading scale, average agility, not a lot of generics. I feel justified sticking him into mid to high B with, again, increasing his value if you can run him on element. Now, Siren is next. Siren is going to be another niche tier Esper here. And here's the thing with Siren. You could really put Siren in every single tier list. Siren is this weird Esper that, like, I probably use almost as much as any other Esper in the game besides, like, Odin and Bahamut. But she's not necessarily better than... let me show you. Here's the thing with her, right? 19 agility is really, really good. Her attack stat sucks. Her HP is pretty low. You know, okay. So, 19 agility, that's what you're getting here, and some dex and luck. But, look in here, right? She's a pierce attack Esper with water attack mixed in, and then accuracy, decreased skill activation, and fire killer. Like, when is the situation where you would run her? Why did I put her in niche? Let me show you the niche build here. You take off all of this, you take off that, you get this 25 slash resistance. Like, here's the core of a Siren build if you're running her on a physical DPS unit like Glaciella. You're specifically fighting a lot of slashing teams. You want the pierce attack and you want the speed. Like, whoa, what did I just click on? She is usable in that situation. Let me set that back up. I misclicked there. And then you do have some accuracy and water attack you can splash into. So I didn't feel like I should leave her off the list. She's a pierce attack Esper. I just think she's like, you know, it's Siren. It's Siren. And as much trash as I want to talk on Siren, I do use her all the time. Having 19 agility on an Esper is fantastic. And she has pierce attack. She was one of our first pierce attack Espers in the game. So forever a place in my heart, but not a super high ranking place on my physical DPS tier list. Niche tier. Okay, next up, we've got Tetra Titan. Tetra Titan is another B tier Esper, in my opinion. Again, this is not an evasion Esper tier list. Here's the deal. Good agility, 17. Low attack, decent HP, dex and luck are fine. With her board, if you're a wind unit, you get a lot of wind attack and some earth killer on there. Let's take those off though. Let's say you're not playing wind or hunting earth teams. Here's what you're left with. A lot of evasion, which is good, but this is a DPS tier list, not an evasion tier list. So you have some missile attack. AP up is decent, and then accuracy, but not a ton of accuracy. So you can see how, generically speaking, if you were trying to just run her as a missile attack Esper, you're getting a little bit of missile attack, a little bit of accuracy, and some AP up. Some decent agility, but really not that good. Lowish attack. Like, again, she's split between attack and magic like Igaion is. Really, you want to run her on a wind unit, right? If you can run her on a Lucia, that's where she would tier up, in my opinion, to an A tier. But for now, just going to be B tier. And again, like I said, this is not an evasion Esper tier list. She would obviously score bonus points in an evasion Esper tier list for having a bunch of evasion. It's a good thing. On that list. Okay. Anyway, next up is Titan. Titan, to me, absolutely top of A tier. Let me break it down for you. Here's Titan. Now, lower, medium agility, 15, right? So you're like, wait a second. You said he's top of A tier. He's not that fast. You're right. But check that out. 93 dex is really nice. 1266 HP with 131 attack. Overall, a good stat line. It's his skill tree that I really, really like. So, if you're an earth element unit, you do get some earth attack on him, but you don't need to be an earth unit to take advantage of him. Let's say you're not hunting lightning teams and you're not running earth attack. This is still a very, very strong board with an emphasis on accuracy. Really good accuracy tree right here. Generically good attack with pierce attack on it. So any piercing unit in this game can really benefit from running Titan. You also have access to Spirit as a great splash. Like, if you just are running low on points, let's say you're just like, man, I'm running this pierce unit. Maybe you don't even need all this accuracy. You just want to be generically a little bruisery, more bruisery. Oh man, you can tell we're getting deep into the video when words start going like that. Spirit is a phenomenal splash. Really great bruiser Esper right here for that Spirit mixed in with all the attack, and then easily an S tier Esper on an Earth Pierce unit like an Oberon or something like that. So I'm a big fan of Titan. I'm throwing him top of A, and again, on a piercing earth unit, easily S tier in that area. Okay, next up, we've got Two-Headed Dragon. Now, Two-Headed Dragon is an Esper I think a lot of people sleep on. I'm going to put him up here towards the top of B, right next to kind of Manipul and Guard Scorpion. And let me show you the thing about Two-Headed Dragon. First, the thing that sucks. 12 agility's crap. Like on a UR Esper, oh man, you're going to have to do a lot of work to overcome 12 agility on a UR Esper. He does a lot of work though. 82 luck is good. 146 attack is dang good. 1300 HP is nice. His skill board, whoa. Look at all those attack nodes on this guy's skill board. Look at all that stuff he can bring. Now, obviously, you would only use a lot of these if you're light element. Let's take the light element specific ones off. Let's say you're not a light element unit, and let's also say you're not hunting dark. That's still so much generic value right there. You have critical damage nodes, you have attack nodes, slash resistant nodes, evasion nodes, which are kind of weird, but they go into critical hit rate, and then a nice amount of accuracy as well. There's so much value on this board that you can take advantage of. Mixed in with 146 attack, it's just, god dang it, 12 agility. If Two-Headed Dragon had 17 or 18 agility, S tier. Bottom of S tier. Almost like Dark Odin levels of good. As it is right now, I mean, I'm going to go top B, top-ish of B, middle of B. And then if you're a light element unit or you're hunting dark teams, easily an A tier. Just, man, oh man, I wish you weren't the slowest boy I've ever seen. It's just, oh god, so much potential held back by 12 agility. Oh my gosh. So there's Two-Headed Dragon. Okay, now, we've made it to the MR Espers, and we're going to kick those off with Behemoth. Behemoth is a solid middle of B. I have him ranked about right here on my notes. Yeah, about right there for Behemoth. And here's why. So, 16 agility for an MR Esper, pretty dang good. We've seen a lot of URs with 15 or less. Nice amount of luck. 106 attack is fine, and 1146 is fine for an MR. Now, his skill tree is very, very good, again, specifically if you're a dark element unit. But let's say you're not a dark element unit. Let's take off the dark attack, and let's say you're not fighting light teams. There's still a lot of value on here. There's still a lot of value. You have attack nodes, you have slash attack nodes, and you have more attack than many of the UR Espers do right there. You also have accuracy into crit damage, which is really, really nice. And then I do give him a little bit of extra value because his elemental focus is so anti-light, and there is so much light in the game right now that I think there's a little bit of extra value for him there. So if you're a dark element unit and you're fighting light teams, you have a choice of going dark attack into light killer or dark attack into light resistance. Or if you're just generically looking for a really good cost-limited format, Behemoth is nice at 30 cost. So there's Behemoth, as good as many of the UR Espers in this game, and then on element would be A tier. Okay, next up, we've got Chocobo. Now guys, Chocobo is really good. I'm looking at my notes here. Watch this, A minus. A minus, baby. Chocobo, maybe this will be a contended thing in the list, but I don't think so after I give you my breakdown of them. So here's the deal with Chocobo. 16 agility, again on an MR, really, really nice. 95 attack, good for an MR, little low on the HP, but let's go down here. Oh, first of all, he also has a heal. Like, his cast is a heal with a defense buff, agility buff, and dispel status effects. Like, can be clutch in certain situations, so a little shout out there. Then his board is really, really what I like. Now, he's a wind element Esper, right? So where's the elemental specific stuff? Well, you do have Earth Killer, but we could take that off if you're not hunting Earth teams. And then, look at that. The rest of it is good across the board. If you're a missile unit, you get attack nodes, you get missile attack over here, you get missile attack down here, and you get accuracy into critical hit rate. This is a very, very good missile Esper board, and the stat line's good to back it up. 95 attack's pretty good, 16 agility's pretty good. So, you want to talk about bang for your buck, 30 cost Esper? Chocobo. Now, what I will say for Chocobo is if you're running him on an as a wind unit, you don't get to bump him up to S. He's hard stuck in A on this list, but I do think he is A tier. So there you go. Next up, we've got Lightning Kitty, Coral, who I have ranked up here, you know, somewhere around Two-Headed Dragon is what I wrote on my list. So I'm going to put him below Two-Headed Dragon, then I'm going to talk about him and we'll see if I move him up. Here's his board. Again, 16 agility. They just love giving 16 agility to MR DPS Espers, whereas they love giving 15 to the URs. I don't know. I didn't make that choice. A good amount of dex, attack's a little low at 87, and so is HP. But if you go to his skill tree, it's really, really nice. Now, he's a lightning element Esper, so let's go look for elemental specific things. A lot of lightning attack, we would take that all the way off, and then if you're not hunting water teams, we would take that off as well, but you're still left with quite a bit. You have a nice amount of attack, you have missile attack, and you have accuracy into critical damage. So I do really like this board. I think, though, you really want to run him mainly on your lightning element units. Missile units, you're still going to like this. A lot of attack and missile attack is good, but that you really want this lightning attack up. He's a great Esper for somebody like Cloud, who's running a hybrid build, where he's both a missile unit and a slashing unit, when you can mix in that lightning attack. That's when he's at his best. I'm actually looking at this. I'm going to scoot him to like here. I feel more comfortable with him about right there. Okay. Not that it matters. That's all just my opinion. So there we go. There's Lightning Kitty. And next up we have Demon Chimera. Now, Demon Chimera I have as a B- Esper on this list. I'm going to put him down here around Igaion. Again, remember, this is not an evasion Esper tier list. This guy has very little agility. He has very little dex, very little luck. Attack stat 68, not good. A decent amount of HP, I suppose. Really, his skill tree is decent, though. Especially if you're an evasion unit, right? But not an evasion tier list. I'm going to click those off. You have a good amount of accuracy here. You have slash attack. Ooh. You know, hold up. Here's all you got. You got critical damage, slash attack, and accuracy right here. I honestly think this guy might be evasion only. I think I misread this. I think I had this as, yeah, if you're a dark unit or you're fighting light teams, you have a lot of options here. But generically speaking, slash attack and accuracy is all you got. You really need to be playing an evasion unit to use Demon Chimera. So I'm going to bump him down. You know what? You know what? I'm going to put him in the bad category. I'm going to put him in bad. If you're playing evasion, he's really good. If you're playing evasion, he's really good. I said it twice more right there, so save the comment. But if you're playing dark, I think he bumps up to an easy B. Or if you're hunting light, he bumps up to an easy B. I'll put him in niche as a dark or light hunter. I don't think he's bad. So dark or light hunter, easy B. You know, demon wallish. Demon wallish. There we go. I talked myself into that. Man, like I said, there's 30 some of these guys. There's a lot. And speaking of evasion Espers, Glacial's next. The Bird. Now, I have Glacial ranked as a B tier Esper. I'm going to throw her about right here for now. Somewhere around Ifrit, right? And if we go in here and look, 15 agility. Okay, right around Ifrit, just kind of like a lot of URs had. 99 attack, actually not bad. And when you look at this Esper, to me, Glacial looks like a magical bird, so I would assume it would be a magic Esper. Totally not. It's a physical DPS Esper. Decent HP, decent attack, decent speed. The board looks like this. It's a lot of slash attack and a lot of ice attack with some other interesting options here. So, let's say you're not playing an ice unit, so you don't want any of the like ice attack. Well, guess what? Boom, there it's gone. Wind attack off as well. Here's what you're left with. Slash attack up, and then accuracy into luck nodes. These luck nodes are pretty valuable these days, especially with all the evasion out there. So getting an accuracy into luck, I do like that. I think that's a really cool node. Then slash attack and attack is nice. Now, obviously, if you're playing ice, you can go right here and get that ice, and that's going to be really nice. Obviously, if you're playing an evasion unit, you get another bit of bonus from having all this extra luck. But you don't have to be playing evasion. You could definitely just be playing an ice slashing unit and take full advantage of Glacial in especially a cost limited situation with only being 30 cost. So I do like Glacial a lot. I'll go middle B with a bump up to maybe low A. if he's on element. Okay, next up, we have Iron Giant. I got Iron Giant hanging out in the low B tier. I'll put Igaion above Iron Giant for now. Let's look at his stuff here and see what I'm thinking. Oh yeah, hold up. I put Igaion above him, right? Thank God. My notes were correct. 10 agility is dreadful. It is dreadfully low. 10? Oh no! That's pretty bad. 106 attack, 1241 HP, so he's not making up for it there. Decent amount of dex and luck, but the skill tree has a lot of offensive nodes on it that you can take advantage of. Particularly if you're a light element unit, you get this light attack, or you're hunting dart teams. If we take those off and look at the generically good ones, you have a lot of slash attack down here, nice amount of attack here, and then accuracy into critical hit rate. So kind of a generic board. What you see on a lot of DPS Espers, the thing holding them back is, oh my god, 10 agility is real bad. So bottom of B tier, and I don't know if you can really elevate him all the way to A, even if he was on element. He would be a higher ranked B tier unit if you could take advantage of his elemental stuff. But man, 10 agility, that's not any good, brother. Now, next up we've got Kraken. Kraken I have as a middle B. Slide him up here around Behemoth and Lightning Kitty. And let's look at him and look at why. 14 agility, little below average, but not bad for an MR. A lot of luck, decent HP, and a lot of attack for an MR Esper. If you look at his skill tree, you have slash attack, accuracy, critical damage, and then you have a lot of water attack and fire killer. If we take those off, here is what his generic build looks like. Slash attack with attack is nice. And again, this is even more useful for PvE, where you just need a lot of slash attack and attack a lot of times. Accuracy into crit damage, nice, but definitely you're really looking at using this guy on a water element unit where you can take advantage of this water attack, or if you happen to be fighting fire teams, you can take advantage of fire killer. With all that said, he's somewhere in the middle of B with an upgrade to high B or low A if you're playing him on element. Okay, Lamia Queen is next. Lamia Queen, another B tier-ish unit, or Esper for me. A lot of really decent MR Espers, guys. A lot of really decent MR Espers. Her agility is only 13. That's pretty low. Dex and luck, also low. Attack and magic balanced, HP 1277. Her skill tree looks like this. Now, generically, really good for a strike attacker, because I'm not going to lie, this stat line is not great. There's not a ton of attack, there's not a ton of dex and luck, slow on the agility, so why isn't she in the bad tier? Well, she's not in the bad tier because there's not a lot of striking Espers in the game right now. If you take off her ice killer, right, you're still left with generically a really good board for a strike unit. A lot of strike attack here, a lot of strike attack here, a lot of attack here, a lot of accuracy and critical hit right here. So a big bonus to her for being generically good. And even though her board sucks, I do think she's, let's go here with her. I'm going to put her below most of the other UR Espers, but what are your options for a good strike Esper? Now, there's not a ton of them, so she is up there. Obviously, Odin would be better, but, you know, you could basically say that for almost all of them anyway. That's Lamia. Okay, Marlboro's next. I got Marlboro hanging out down here in the niche tier. Now, why? Why do we have Marlboro hanging up down here in the niche tier? Well, let's take a look at him. Here's the deal with him. 14 agility is whatever. 76 attack is low. HP's okay. Dex and luck or whatever. Here's his skill tree. Now, he's a wind element Esper. If you take away his elemental specific stuff, well, this is what you got left, I guess. It's not a lot. It's not very much. He does have strike attack, so he is a strike attack Esper. But I guess I'm going to include initial AP as something here, but really you could almost take that off as well. Yeah, there's not a ton. There's not a ton really left to go on here. I think his niche use is on a wind element unit fighting earth teams that can do strike damage. Right? And then if you really want, you can get some of that too. But you're like, having to go through TP up to get to 7 initial AP feels really bad. So I just like, yeah, you know, he's bad. He's bad. Even I use him sometimes, but he's bad. Y'all, he's bad. I'm going to throw him into bad. I changed my mind. Marlboro's bad. Like, his board at 14 agility and 76 attack. Yeah, I'm on the fence, you can tell. Gosh, you take away those elemental, killers and attack ups. Not great. I think he's bad. I'm going to throw him into bad, especially at MR. If he was less than an MR, maybe I'd give him a little bit of a bonus there. Okay, next up, we've got Merilith next. And I have Merilith slotted in as another B tier Esper. So let's take a peek at her here. 14 agility, 110 attack is nice, 1209 HP is nice for an MR. And if we look at her skill tree, she's a missile attack Esper with fire attack on there as well. Now say again, you're not playing fire and you're not hunting ice. This is what you're left with, and it's actually pretty good. You have attack, you have critical hit rate, you have accuracy times a lot. Actually, a very high accuracy Esper, and then missile attack on here. So she's kind of like a budget Bronchiosaurus, Esper here, where you'd really like to run her with her fire attack on there and missile attack for somebody like Setia or Luartha. And if you're running both of them, she would be a nice, a nice use for the one that you don't want to be running, Littlefoot. So that's my breakdown of Merilith. And I'm running out of steam, guys. This video's at 40 minutes. Deep breaths. Baby J is sleeping. He's hanging in there. So as long as he's hanging in there, I can hang in there, right? Next up, we got Red Chocobo. I'm not going to mess with doing Red Chocobo right now. I'm going to throw him into bad. But I got to say, this guy has a lot of potential. 17 agility is really fast. Attack is low, HP is really low, but they're really low because we don't actually have this guy like unlocked yet. So I almost feel bad ranking him. In fact, I'm going to unrank him. I'm going to drop him back down here and just say like pending getting level 99 because we just don't have level 99 on him yet. When we do get that, he has slash attack, accuracy, and attack, and it'll grow, right? It'll grow like those other boards that we've seen. I will hold my judgment of him until then. Yeah, because there's a lot of potential with Red Chocobo. A lot of potential with him. Next up, we get now we're getting into the real cost-limited value Espers here, like Bomb, Flowdie, etc. And Bomb in particular, Bomb's good. Guys, like, don't sleep on Bomb. I'm going to throw Bomb into like high to mid B and check out why. Okay, agility sucks. 12 agility, oof. But he's an SR, only 20 cost. Keep that in mind. 76 attack's a little low, 988 attack's a little low. Again, SR. Check out this board. Okay, let's take off the elemental specific stuff. Let's say you're not just fighting ice teams. Let's drop that ice killer. You still have all of this. You have pierce attack. You have a lot of attack up. You have human killer. You have missile resistance that goes into critical damage. Whoa, that's a lot going on right there that is generically really, really good. Even if you're not a pierce attack, kick that off, and if you have points left, you can splash into HP up. I love this Esper, especially at 20 cost. I think Bomb is super valuable, probably underplayed in a lot of situations, so big shout out to Bomb, and I'll throw him into mid B. Maybe like here-ish. Here-ish. It's hard to do some of these because like I think Ifrit on element is definitely stronger than Bomb, but off element, I don't know. Okay, next up we got Flowdie. Now Flowdie is bad. We're gonna throw Flowdie straight into the bad tier here, and here's why. Agility's okay, HP's okay, attack's pretty bad, whatever. The stat line is fine for an SR unit. It's when you get to this board. Now, Flowdie will get more points on the magical list, right? But missile attack into accuracy, I guess he's supposed to be a missile attack Esper. He's probably more so supposed to be something like this for a magic missile unit that is ice, right? Think of Valentine's Day Salier, for example. That's probably more his role. So as a physical DPS Esper, I'm going to rate him as bad. Honestly, probably shouldn't even be on this list, but bad as a missile Esper in general on a physical unit. Don't do it. It's not a good idea. Next up, we've got Ogre. Ogre's bottom B tier. Here's why. We're getting to the finish line, guys. 13 agility, not great. 56 attack. I got a problem with 56 attack on Ogre. Look at the veins. Look at the muscles on this guy. He's obviously hella swole, but why is it tackling 56? he obviously has more strength than that. 873 HP is fine for an SR, but if we look at his skill tree, it's really not great. You do have a lot of attack here, so I guess he can make up for his low attack. You have slash attack on here, which is nice. And then you do have some water killer that if you take that off and you just wanted to run him more generically in like a cost limited format, you could splash into defense, and that's pretty good. So really, Ogre is kind of like a budget high attack because of the nodes defense bruiser Esper. And that's Ogre. Now, Baby J is starting to wake up. I've got one more to do. It's Zoo, and Zoo is again like low B tier-ish. We'll put Zoo like somewhere in here. Now, when we look at Zoo, 15 agility is good. 1000 HP is pretty dang good for an SR Esper. 60 attack, it's low, but he's SR. And then when you look at his skill tree, you have Earth Killer in here. He's a wind element unit. We could take that off if you're just going more generic. Then you have a lot of attack nodes. You have strike attack and then magic resist into accuracy. Hold on, Baby J's crying. I'll be right back. Okay, that kid has dealt with COVID like a champ, to be honest with you. He just wakes up more at night because he doesn't feel good, but he's doing pretty well. What a hero. Okay, anyway, here's Zoo. We're almost done. We got to the last one. It's pretty good. So he has a lot of attack, accuracy, that you get some magic resist on the way, and then strike attack. And if you didn't want to run him as a strike attack Esper, again, in a cost limited format, you could head over to HP right here. And so that would be a nice, easy splash. I have him rated on here, low B. I agree. Again, I don't think he moves up necessarily though, as an on element Esper. And that's the list. So there it is, guys. I definitely think both forms of Odin are at the top of this list, with some of these other ones here being able to get up into their stratosphere if you're running them on element. And this was the best way I could think of organizing this tier list. Do let me know if you liked it. If you watched this whole like 40-some minute video, you're a hero. Thank you. It has been a heck of a ride. I've worked on this video for literally 2 days. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.